Okay, part two. Zany with two capital Z's. 14. All right, here we go. The hairs of his head were white like wool and white as snow. What's that? Well, it wasn't like here in America, right? At this time, if you were old, you were wise. Now, last video, how do we end? We talked about biblical wisdom, right? Listen to the wisdom. One of the greatest moments that God provided for me is the day when I was a brand new Christian. I just didn't know what to do. I had been a Christian for probably a few days, maybe even a few hours. I don't remember. And I just cracked open Ecclesiastes and was just blown away. And still to this day, blown away by biblical wisdom. His eyes were like a flame of fire, right? Power, he sees. Hold on. 15. His feet were like burnished bronze. Now, this is the description, I believe, in Daniel of an angel, right? Of feet of iron and clay. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined in a furnace, and his voice was like the roar of many waters. Go back. Remember, I told you that the ocean, or not the ocean, but the sea, water, was a powerful thing, a mystic thing. Powerful men went out and never came back. People saw things in the sea they didn't understand. Where did I get that idea? I got that idea from Revelation, the throne room of God, where it says that the floor is made of glass. Why is the floor in the throne room of God made of glass? Because you have to cross the sea. The glass represents water. You have to cross the sea to get to God, so to speak. Okay, so what does that mean? Now, I'm not going to spend time on that right now, but what does that mean when waters, okay, his feet were like, hold on, and his voice was like the roar of many waters. Now, that's also an Old Testament reference here, but it's to tell you God is speaking with great power so he can be heard. Okay. Now, I will say I might be reading a little bit into the water thing there. Okay. I'm just trying to lay it all out on line here. In 16, in his right hand, he held 7 stars. Now, if you know your Bible, you know astrology, right? You also know your Old Testament prophets said, he who placed the stars then spread them out. Okay. So he is God. He is in full control. He reveals. But Jesus himself is going to give us an interpretation here, all right, of these stars. And it's not just what I'm saying, okay? There's more to it than that. Held the 7 stars. From his mouth came a sharp, two-edged sword. That is the gospel. Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword, to divide father from son and so forth. What was he talking about? The gospel. It is the dividing line between heaven and hell, right? Is the dividing line between those who are coming, who have an opportunity to come to God, and that's the way by which God will judge. It is also the cause of the tribulation, is it not? It's the ultimate peace with God that will not allow for peace in the world. All right, so what is he talking about? What is he saying? If a sword is protruding from his mouth, he's saying that that's the gospel. And his face was like the sun, shining in full strength. Again, back to the power imagery. Now let's go to 17. When I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. But he laid his right hand on me, saying, Fear not. Okay, fear not. I am the first and the last, right? So this is Jesus speaking. That's how Revelation began. And the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. I died, and before I am forevermore. Now, it's the resurrection, right? Of course. But think about the context a little bit about what we talked about a couple videos ago. in the earlier parts of chapter 1. There's the first death, and then there's a second death. Why does that matter? This is a preview of what's coming. It matters greatly when we move on. That's why I just really wish I could have included all this in the other video. It's just a little much for someone to pay a lot of attention to, and like that. Anyway, I am alive forevermore, and I have the keys of death and Hades. Now, let me ask this. If someone what's a key for? It's for locking a door, right? And who locked the door? Probably the one that has the key. So, what's the saying? He's the only place you go. Right? He's the only place you go. But also, really, let's get more to the point here. I think this is just about his power. All right. Obviously, you're seeing with the gold sash, the light, the bronze, all this bright, the sun at its highest strength. What is all this? Power. God's incredible power. Note too, there's a lot you can apply here from Revelation. All this incredible power from God, focused in on John to the 7 churches, to all. All this incredible power reveals something to you and to me. What is man that you would... I thought I had that verse down. Oh well. What is man that you would consider him, or something like that? Ouch. I should have that one down. 19. Write therefore the things that you have seen, those that are and those that are to take place after this. What is he seeing? Something that is to be and is coming to be. Let's look at the present. Because there's a lot of past here, right? There's going to be tons of past. I mean, already with Jesus, Alpha and Omega. So what is that? Things that are and things are to be. Interpretation. How to interpret the time. We see that in prophecy. How to interpret the past, how to interpret the present, how to interpret the future. So prophecy isn't, ironically and fascinating, isn't just about predicting the future, right? It's about interpreting the future. So let's take my third dream. My friend asked me a very good question. What does it mean? Okay, so 45 comes back. What does it mean? I'm like, that's the thing that's got me mixed up here. That's what gave me so much angst. Because what does that mean? Now, this isn't about, I'm not trying to make Revelation about temporary prophecy. I'll leave that to other people. I'm just trying to get us to good interpretation of the text. But that is a good question, because prophecy isn't just about predicting the future. It's about interpreting the future. Now, it could be that we'll learn what that is along the line. Okay, but it's also about interpreting the present. Okay, utterly fascinating. The zany professor loves it. Verse 20. As for the mystery of the 7 stars that you saw on my right hand, which he also used to waken John. Interesting. And the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. Very important statement. God will use his power of his gospel, right? Because light in many cases represents power here. He will use his power of his gospel. That light is going to be on the churches. Incredible power in that. For us, it's a mundane experience, right? It's, you go to church on Sunday. I think preachers and worshipers go there not expecting God's power. I know I've done that. And the Bible warns against that. I mean, it warns against not affirming God's power. It's faithlessness. It's what it is. I said that not too long ago. I woke up that morning, by the way, and that was the first thought that came to me, is not acknowledging God's power is faithlessness. Interesting. So these lampstands now, this is a pivot, okay? When we get to the church in Ephesus and all that, The lampstands are a centerpiece of what we're getting ready to look at. Be advised, too, as we move along, I might be offering corrections to some of the things I've said in the past. I apologize if that happens. There's just a lot here, and I'm mixing in some of my own experience teaching this. And, as you can tell, my memory is not always as great as I'd like it to be, you know. And, my memory, zany professor's memory is totally zany. It's my memory that's the problem. Anyway, have a great day.